All right, this is Cam here with Piers Sailing Center, here with another Ocean Science After School. Today we're going to be talking about rising sea levels due to global warming. One of the effects of climate change is a rise in sea level. Sea level is the term used to describe the height of the surface of the water. Sea levels are not the same all across the world. Different parts are going to have different sea levels. But throughout the entire world, the sea level has been increasing by about 3.2 millimeters every year. This may seem like a small number, but scientists are concerned because this rate has been increasing in the past century. These slight increases add up over time, and because the land sits at about 2 meters above sea level, a lot of coastal areas are starting to get taken over by the ocean. Many areas have already started to be impacted by the effects of rising sea levels. Flooding has become a big issue in many coastal cities like New Orleans and Miami. It is very common at high tide for streets in the downtowns to get flooded. It's also a big problem during tropical storms such as hurricanes. These higher sea levels can cause a powerful storm surge that do a lot of damage to coastal cities. It can also be a problem as the salt water starts to mix with fresh water. Our freshwater supplies, such as rivers and lakes, are very important because they can be used as drinking water. But as they start to be polluted by salt water, we begin to lose access to them. Many coastal areas are starting to lose access to their fresh water because of the rising sea level. Marine ecosystems are also facing a lot of challenges because of this rising sea level. A lot of fish, birds, and plants are losing parts of their habitat because it's being taken over by the salt water. So you're probably wondering, what's causing the sea levels to rise so much? There's really three main causes that are doing this. So the first one is called thermal expansion, and it's caused by global warming. Greenhouse gases, which are caused by things like your car burning gasoline and factories burning coal, are then emitted into the atmosphere, and the ocean is able to absorb a lot of the heat from the Earth's atmosphere, which can protect it from the effects of greenhouse gases, but this makes the water very warm. And when the water gets warm, the molecules start to expand and take up more space. By doing this, the sea level is getting higher. Another cause is from melting glaciers. Glaciers are large, dense bodies of ice that are always moving and found in the mountains. When these glaciers start to melt because the Earth's temperatures are getting so hot, the runoff flows into the ocean, which again causes the level of the sea to go up. The final cause is due to melting ice sheets. The North and South polar regions are made up of large sheets of ice. There are two main types of ice that can be found here: ice that's floating in the water and ice that's on land. When the ice that's floating in the water starts to melt, it's not a big deal because it doesn't affect the sea level. But when this ice that's on land melts, it flows into the ocean and it can cause the sea level to rise. This can be hard to understand, so now I'm going to do a demonstration so that you can see how this melting ice on land will affect the sea levels. Alright, so now we're going to do a demonstration to see what happens when the ice caps melt in the polar regions. So if you look here, we have two containers of water. One of them has ice cubes on land, the other has ice cubes in the water. They both have the same amount of ice cubes and the same level of water right now. So we're going to wait and see what happens when the ice cubes melt and what the water levels look like after. You can try this activity at home if you want. The only thing you need is two containers, some clay to make a landmass, water, and ice cubes. It's important to make sure that you have the same amount of water in each container and that the ice cubes are the same size. So now all we have to do is wait it out and see what happens when all the ice is melted. Alright, so as you can see here, the container that had our land ice has more water than the other one that had the ice that was in the water. So that shows that in the polar regions, when the ice sheets are melting, what we really need to be concerned with is the ice that's on land. The ice that's in the water won't affect the level at all, but when the land ice melts, it's going to rise the sea levels all across the world. And that concludes our lesson today on rising sea levels. Make sure you stay tuned for more episodes of Ocean Science After School with Piers Sailing Center.